Yeah, I know.
Have Nehemiah, Judge, and Chloe please come and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. They're from Warren Hills Elementary, and you want to just stand right here, and obviously you see our flag, and you can lead us. You just start whenever you're ready.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank God, you guys, and they're from Warren Hills Elementary, and welcoming us here today. Thank you all. And good evening, everybody, and good evening to the parents and families who are here tonight to welcome Warren Hills. So we're here to start our regular board meeting, and we usually start that by a move to approve the agenda.
I move, oh, I'm on the wrong thing. Sorry.
I move the board approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Nick?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
AJ?
Yes.
Dan? I don't know if he's joined us. Drew?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, great. And then we also have Honoring Excellence up next with Dallas Ackerman, who will fill us in more on our
Yes, we'll be
wonderful
having
guest
those students
tonight.
come forward again here momentarily. We do, though, want to lead off by introducing you to Troy Fisher. Troy, would you like to come up? Did you get that little, how I worked that in? He's a baseball guy. Leading off. I've done some PA announcing. What's your number?
10.
Leading off, number 10, Troy Fisher. All right, here we go. Troy made some big news just a few weeks ago, and we'll introduce a couple of his guests with us tonight. But I thought I'd read a little bit of his recognition. It was an exciting afternoon at Liberty North High School on Wednesday, October 1st, as members of both the Kansas City Urban Youth Academy and the Kansas City Royals visited to make a special announcement that Eagle senior Troy Fisher had been selected as the 2025 Kansas City Urban Youth Academy Youth of the Year. Recipients are selected for their achievements on and off the field, their resilience in overcoming personal challenges, and their positive impact on their communities. This award is in partnership with the Kansas City Royals, and for being selected, Troy will be one of only 10 youth in the country that will have the opportunity to be introduced and recognized prior to Game 2 of the World Series coming up Saturday night in Toronto. We would also like to share that Troy is a standout for the Eagle baseball team and has already committed to play baseball at the University of Arkansas next year. All of us would like to congratulate Troy on this amazing achievement. I tried to twist his arm to see if I could be his selected guest to go, but Troy's dad is going to make he said he was just going to have to take one for the team and go with Troy to meet Otani and the rest of the crew in Canada Saturday night. I also wanted to introduce Ms. Donnie Smith. She's the Executive Director of Administration with the Kansas City Youth Academy and the Kansas City Royals. Donnie, thanks for being here tonight. So Troy, here is your official certificate. Safe travels, my friend. Congratulations, Troy. If anyone cares, the Dodgers in 5 games. We kicked things off last month with our LPS award, which was amazing to recognize students for being flat amazing. And you see the LPS award. LPS, we changed it a bit instead of Liberty Public Schools for love, positivity, and strength. And this month, we're so fortunate to be joined by 3 students from Warren Hills Elementary representing the Wildcats, and we continue to receive some amazing nominations and stories, and we'll continue to recognize these students. I hope I shared with the families a little background around this award and how special it is, and I had a chance to connect with them before they were seated tonight, and I'm going to introduce each of them. As they come up, I'll read a little bit about them and what makes them special. So let's lead off with 3rd grader Nehemiah Fowler Madlock. Nehemiah, would you come and join me right here at the podium? Nehemiah is in Miss Owen's class, correct? And this is what they said about Nehemiah. Nehemiah is a gentle giant with a tender and sensitive heart. Though quiet and shy, I don't think you're shy. Look at that grin. He shows deep empathy for others and has a way of noticing when someone needs encouragement of a kind word. He's incredibly thoughtful, always putting others before himself, and his kindness shines through in the smallest gestures. He loves to share a hug, offering comfort and connection to those around him. His sweet nature and genuine care for others makes him a truly special presence in the classroom and a friend everyone can count on. Congratulations, Nehemiah. Judge Hull. Your real name is Owens, right? They call you Judge. All right. You are a 4th grader at Warren Hills in Miss Garofalo's class? Yes. Awesome. I'm going to read a little bit about you, okay? Judge is incredibly caring and friendly to everyone he meets. He works hard in all that he does and is always willing to go out of his way to help any of his classmates. With a big heart and a supportive nature, he makes those around him feel valued and included. His kindness and helpfulness shine every day, and he is truly a friend to all. On top of that, his sense of humor and great personality bring joy to the classroom, making him a wonderful classmate and a positive influence on our school community. Way to go, Judge. Make sure. There you are, Judge. Good job. Congratulations.
Got the skills already then.
And finally, a fifth grader at Warren Hills, Chloe Huskamp. Chloe, welcome. You are a fifth grader. So we have 3 grades covered for the Wildcats. Chloe, I'm going to read a little bit about you. Okay? Chloe has a truly remarkable heart. She's always looking out for her classmates, showing kindness and compassion in every interaction. She stands up for others when they need support and is quick to offer a helping hand or a comforting word. Her friendships extend to everyone as she makes sure no one feels left out and accepts others exactly who they are. She has a gift for making people valued and included. Even when someone makes a mistake, she shows grace and forgiveness, modeling what it means to move forward with understanding. Her caring nature makes her a trusted friend, a loyal classmate, and a wonderful example of kindness for others to follow. Congratulations, Chloe. Oh, Chloe. Before I wrap up, I just want to thank again all of the family members and friends that have come out tonight to support these amazing students. And again, congratulations to Troy as well. And I want to thank Dr. Camp for being here as well to represent Liberty North. So hope everyone has a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dallas. And as we typically do, we love to have the opportunity to take a brief recess in our meeting before we get into our business meeting, to take a break and just say hello to all of you. So if we can take maybe about, we can be back around 7:20-ish here, that'd be great. So, we'd just love to visit with you.
To Toronto? Get your passport ready. Say what? Get your passport ready.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I can see it from here. The smaller, the brother.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, after that wonderful recess, we're back in for our meeting, and this would be the time when we would typically have public comment. So that would be a time where we would have anybody available. If we had people here to speak, that this would be their chance to comment. I don't believe we have anybody that has decided to submit a comment card, so we can move on to our consent agenda. So if we have a motion on approval of our consent agenda, our adopted rules of parliamentary procedure, Robert's rules, provide for a consent agenda listing several items for approval of the board by a single motion. Documentation concerning these items has been provided to all board members and the public in advance to assure an extensive and thorough review. Items may be removed from the consent agenda at the request of any board member. If we have a motion, then we can.
I move the board approve consent agenda items 3.1 through 3.6.
Second. Nick,
Yes.
Jen? Yes.
AJ?
Yes.
Dan? Drew?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, and then item 4 on the agenda is our administration reports.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. First off, item 4.1 is Innovation and Learning Report with Dr. Julie Moore.
Good evening.
Hello.
I wanted to share a few highlights from the board report. College visits are getting ready, actually started this week with our 8th graders at all 4 middle schools. So we're excited to continue that program. We also were able to host an amazing Women in STEM visit at Liberty High School just a few weeks ago, and that had over 200 middle school and high school students there. It was so popular they ran out of breakfast, but the students planned the whole thing, and it was amazing. So thank you to those who were able to come. We also hosted a cyber summit on the Hill with 50 students who are interested in cybersecurity. So we appreciate trying to grow that program as well. And then wanted to highlight on November 6th, the Greater Ozark Cooperating School District will be bringing about 60 educators to Liberty just to see all the amazing things that we do. They were able to choose from some different things, and we have 60 people who want to come here. So we're working on a schedule right now. That's big, but we're thrilled to showcase.
What district?
It's the Greater Ozark Cooperating School District. Do you want to?
It's similar to Cooperating School Districts of Greater Kansas City. It covers the southwest corner of Missouri. So Dr. Hedgepeth is the director there. She's one of the Success Ready student facilitators. And so she's kind of cast it and invited folks to come and see. I think they're hitting a couple districts, but they'll spend time with us as well. And I believe a couple state board members might accompany them as well. So.
We're going to convene on that day, building 53, and then break up elementary and secondary and take them around, and then come back and have a panel for them to ask principals, coaches, teachers about some of the work we do. Annual reports or annual reviews. This month we have the assessment and evaluation, and quite a bit of information in that one, but how Mr. Hand and his department are working to support our buildings. In addition, the fine arts review, highlighting some of our arts integration, and so many different opportunities for our students to be exposed to the arts with the field trips and guest speakers. Also instructional design and highlighting the curriculum cycle and the work of our curriculum councils. So those, that's by Dr. Schmitz. And then finally, library and media services, and just being able to, I think, highlight for me, I love highlighting the different things that library media specialists do now instead of just maybe 30 years ago, 20 years ago, checking out books and some of that type. They're doing quite a bit with AI and technology and supporting a culture of reading. So appreciate those directors taking time to do that. And then finally, I had the opportunity to be involved in I am involved in a fellowship with Getting Smart in Kaufman, and I had the opportunity to go with some area assistant superintendents to 5 different school districts in Denver, Boulder area. And it was a great trip, but I just wanted to say it was also very reaffirming of all the great things that we do here. And I heard Tom Vander Ark say many times, like, you should go to Liberty. You should go and see what they're doing at Edge. You should go and do this. And so I'm proud of everything that we're doing here. Some of you were able to go to the LMS walkthrough yesterday and to be able to see the walking and rolling, the work they do for kids who maybe can't speak or can't walk, and to make them Halloween costumes. Was pretty powerful. So just wanted to say thank you for supporting us in all of that work. That's all I have.
Thank you, Dr. Moore.
Any questions of Dr. Moore?
I was reading about the reduction in long-term suspensions. Over the last 2 school years, I think there's been 4 at this time of the year, and in the past it was 7. Anything that we're doing, that staff is doing, is making a difference? What do you think?
Long-term suspension?
Yes.
I think part of it is trying to be proactive up front, identifying students who might have needs, getting them support early on, and trying to find things that work for those students. And I think through us having Educator's Handbook and having panorama data on some of our students, and knowing that maybe there have been some concerns in the past, we're able to see that quicker. And then also, one of the things that we've been trying to do is work with administrators to make sure that we're all on the same page, that when something happens, obviously that the discipline would be the same across. So I think that those conversations continue to happen.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Dr. Moore, I had a question about, in the advanced studies section of your, I think it was your report, that there was a talk about a graduate progress report, and when I go in as a parent and look at a graduate progress report, that's for my kid, but it sounds like that Dr. Soluri is coming up with something that our counselors can use to help them keep kids on track?
Yes, so it is really for counselors, administrators, our registrar, and so what the parents see in Power School is definitely the exact same thing. But we were trying to make it easier for our team to not have to click through every student one by one and check several in Power School. If you know, as a parent, you go through, it's on several different pages, and so you kind of have to click to find things, and we were trying to put it all into one spot. So the Power School team, Dr. Soluri, Dr. Van Batavia, several people got together, and they were able to work their magic. I don't know how it's done, but so that all of those things go to one database, and so a counselor can see what credits maybe a student is lacking if they don't have their MBA, and we need to focus on that. So really looking at seniors, if they haven't taken, a test, if they haven't done their EOCs, it comes through, and then there's a column that says not met. So then we can know for grouping, like, who do we need to focus on. So we still obviously want counselors to sit down with students, especially, again, at the senior level when they're getting ready to make sure they can graduate, and have those conversations, but it kind of lets them be a little bit more proactive on an easier level to say, I have 12 reds here that have not met, so I need to work with those students. It also helps for the tiered diploma. Instead of having to go through each student one by one, it will show you how many students met for each of the levels so that they can organize that much faster. So nothing will change for the student and the parent, but it is much more efficient for our team.
Thank you.
I'm just going to call out within the fine arts, I think it's great that we're making the note of the amount of community members who attend our events through the fine arts, the fact that it's full integration throughout classwork, the over 12,000, students or student roles that have participated in the arts. I think a lot of times we sometimes forget about how far-reaching that is and think of it as only theater or choir or something along those lines at the high school level, but pretty impactful overall on what we're doing.
There's just about any night of the week that you can have a
There's
cheap
something.
date night if you're interested.
That's right.
So, yeah. Thanks for that call out, Nick.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you,
Thanks,
Dr.
Matt.
Moore. Next is 4.2, and that is our Student Equity and Access Report. We will welcome Dr. Andrea Dixon-Seymour.
Mr. Bird, thank you for asking that question about the long-term suspension hearings. It actually was in my report.
Okay.
And I asked Rebecca to include that because that's the not so glamorous part of what Student Services does. But that does show us that we are, as Dr. Moore alluded to, being more proactive in our strategies with students. So thanks for asking that question.
Okay.
I wanted to open up this evening with the family engagement piece, and particularly around the family focus groups that we have just recently held. We had 3 sessions, if you will, one last Thursday, this past Monday, and then just this morning. And we received 47 RSVPs, but in terms of how many showed up, we had about 28. So we still consider that to be a success because that's about 58% of respondents that showed up for those focus groups. What we were excited about is we had a number of people representing families that are new to LPS, families that are also employees, and then also families with multiple children within the home, spanning across the various grade levels. So there were some great perspectives shared, and our team is in the process of compiling all that data now. That'll take us a little while and just making sense of what the data is telling us. And of course, we'll circle back once we've wrapped all that up and share. Also wanted to highlight that within Student Services, LPS has been able to identify and to support 123 students that are experiencing homelessness or housing instability so far this year. And although this number is higher, a little bit higher than last year, we still consider that to be a success because that means that, again, we're being more proactive, more strategic with making sure we're properly identifying students to get them the necessary support. So kudos and a shout out to our social workers as well as our Student Services team members. Wanted to also highlight on behalf of special programs, since the counseling department falls under their purview, that the Professional Recognition Committee of the Missouri School Counselor Association has selected Dr. Rob Fisher as MSCA's Director of the Year for 25-26. That is very, very exciting news. And Dr. Fisher will be formally recognized at the MSCA Fall Conference Professional Recognition event on November the 1st. So congratulations to Dr. Fisher for that accomplishment. On behalf of Special Services, I wanted to highlight that on November the 5th, the next Parent Information Night will be held, and Ms. Jennifer Henderson, who is our Assistant Director of Special Services for Secondary, and Dr. Sarah Wickham, our Director of Rural Learning, they will be co-leading a session on real-world learning and post-secondary transition planning. So we know that our families will show up for that because that's very important information that will be presented. Also wanted to highlight that the annual report for Special Services is included in this month's report, as well as you'll see an attachment for the funding application for the LEA Parent and Family Engagement. That's something we do submit on an annual basis to DESE, and that's really about basically outreach and engagement with families of participating children, including parents of migrant and EL children, in a meaningful consultation to plan and implement parent involvement programs, activities, and procedures. So that's what I wanted to highlight. Oh, and there is one thing I needed to just make a correction on. Under engagement opportunities, you'll see a webinar that I participated in, ADA Title II Compliance webinar, and it is misprinted here. It reads MSBA. It was not hosted by MSBA. It was hosted by NASA, NASA. So I was just typing too fast, and I apologize for that error there. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
Questions of Dr. Dixon-Seymour?
Remind me on when we are helping and supporting those with homelessness or housing instability, what are some of those supports that we put in place?
Well, sometimes there may need to be care packages provided for the learners. There's transportation pieces. There's just the social service part of that, because when you think about being homeless, that's a trauma piece. And so those would be some of the ways that we support our learners, and just making sure that they're at school, they're present, cared for, counseling support, social worker services, all of that. It's all encompassing.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you for organizing the focus groups, and I'm glad you got turnout for that. So I was curious about how many people would be interested, so I'm glad you provided those numbers.
I will say, I set a lofty goal. We were aiming for 60.
Well,
That's all right. But the feedback that was shared was amazing, very insightful. So we look forward to coming back to you to share what we learned.
Those sessions continue, right? Aren't there several of them?
There were, okay, so for each one of those nights that we held them, or days, we had 2 sessions going simultaneously.
Okay.
Yes. So we just scheduled them for 3 touch points. And we did decide as a team that if we felt that we needed some additional feedback, if maybe we needed to do it again, either later in the fall or maybe in the spring semester perhaps, we would explore that as a possibility.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Dixon.
Thank
Seymour.
you.
Thank you. 4.3 then, the second night out on the town. Last night, Ms. Sullivan had her Audit and Finance Committee. We're going to hear a little bit later on about the audit, and so we'll turn it over to her for our finance report.
Thank you, Dr. Tucker, and good evening. I have 2 donations to present to you tonight. A donation of books and bags to kindergarten through 2nd grade students at Ridgeview Elementary, valued at approximately $4,000 from Amazon, and Reading is Fundamental. And then a donation of football uniform sets to Liberty North High School, valued at approximately $30,000 from Adidas Football, in conjunction with the Patrick Mahomes Gladiator football program. So we appreciate both of those donations to the students of LPS. Very, very generous on both parts. Tonight, I also wanted to point out that we received a state payment today, and the foundation formula today was paid out at $6,899 per weighted average daily attendance and average membership combined. This is actually less than last month, so we've continued to talk about the fact that we are not receiving the full funding in the foundation formula yet. We're hopeful, but I wanted to remind you that if it continues at this level, that's about a $3.1 million shortfall in expected state revenue based on what the appropriation was allocated to districts this year. So I just want to keep you apprised of that, because that's a good amount of money that we hope to get by the end of the year that we're still not convinced that we're going to get.
So that's 3.1 million total if this continues at just the current rate. But if it falls,
It will be more than that.
great.
Yeah.
I like the other part better.
I know.
Okay.
And I think it fell this month just because of the denominator going up, which causes the distribution to go down, because the reports, people are starting to estimate their membership, and membership counts for September are coming in and being compiled by DESI, so the denominator changed on the way the payment was distributed, which causes it to go down. So I think that's why that happened, but state revenue does continue to lag over prior years, so it is slow for sure. But
And that will,
time will tell.
they will continue to monitor that over the course of the year. So it can go in a couple of different directions, as Cindy is sharing. It can be that shortfall that was mentioned. It could be worse, or it could be where they projected it and then they make that correction at the conclusion of the year.
Correct.
For those months in which it was shorted, if that makes sense. And so we've got a little bit of a prior precedent in how DESI manages that, which is a little bit of a conservative approach, but at the same time we know that the projections aren't great.
No.
As far as the state revenue piece. So certainly something to watch as we go month to month.
And would you mind reminding us about the reason why we run a fund balance, and how this time of year typically we plan for, to some degree, this time of year being a waiting game for state revenue to kick in?
Yes. So the fund balance actually is comparable to your savings account, because we know that the majority of our revenue, 65% of it, comes from local taxes. We don't receive that revenue until January, February, March predominantly. So during the months of July through December, we are living off of our savings account basically. So it takes a certain percentage of savings account to pay to keep the lights on and keep staff paid. So we haven't refigured it for a while, but I would imagine it's between 20 and 22% of a fund balance to prevent us from having to borrow money in the form of a tax anticipation note to make payroll in November and December. So that's why we keep a fund balance on hand.
Thank you.
Make sense?
Yep.
Good. So yes, so that's all important information when we're looking at shortfalls in state revenue, why we need to keep a healthy balance in our books.
And once we reach December 31st, the books are closed.
No,
Oh,
we're a
okay.
fiscal year, so our books don't actually close until June 30.
Okay.
But we just don't get the majority of our revenue until the second half of the year.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Be sure and pay your property taxes on
Yeah.
time.
Exactly. So, then the other thing I wanted to talk to you tonight about was a little later on, you're going to be hearing from the district auditor, and he's going to be presenting our audit report to you. Before that, I always want to thank the people that have participated and made that such a successful endeavor. Denise was great at getting us prepared, and then Joe Maloney ran point while the auditors were here and doing the work. And then a big thank you to everybody that got their stuff in on time and provided good data and good information, so we didn't have to keep going back to them. It takes, again, just like the budget, there are so many people involved in that work, and I am forever grateful that we have such a good team that continues to do good work and get us the things we need to have a successful audit. So I would be very remiss if I didn't do those thank yous to the people that made that such a successful endeavor. Last night, the Audit and Finance Committee did meet, and they heard from the auditor as well. He did present to them the same audit report that you're going to be hearing tonight. They had some good conversation, and then that followed up with some conversation after he left about the very things you were asking about: fund balance, deficit spending, what that means. How are we, what's our outlook in the revenue picture. So we did have a real good discussion about that, and they had some good questions of the auditor and then on the follow-up. So I think they gained some understanding about where we're at right now and what we're thinking as we move forward with that. They did not have anything to share with you, and I don't have anything else for you tonight either.
Other questions? Clarification for Ms. Sullivan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next then is 4.4, and that is our operations report. Mr. Anderson.
Good evening. I thought I'd just take a quick minute on the 3 reports that are uploaded for you tonight. Just to acknowledge, I think I've done this, typically do this maybe once a year, but the teams that are involved in kind of pulling this together. So first of all, the department report, the 8 chapters are all obviously compiled by each of the 8 directors, and appreciate their kind of staying with it and putting the information together on a monthly basis. Also, the capital projects report that Justin Preston, our projects manager, he assembles that every month, make sure all that information is up to date. And then, of course, the monthly report on all the bond activity. And that's a broader team with Newkirk, Novak, Hollison Miller, and some of our folks to just make sure that information is always up to date. We also like to keep that uploaded up on the website to keep that current as well. A couple things to just draw out of the report. First of all, with respect to Kid Zone, school age care, it's this Thursday is the Lights On after school program. It's just their annual celebration. They have some special programming that they do in kind of alignment with all the other programs across the country, and it's kind of a neat time of year for them and their team. I appreciate all the work that they do each year and throughout the year. It's also School Bus Safety Week. That's noted as well. That's all of this week. I did want to make note, it's in the report, we've collaborated more this year than years past with Liberty Police Department in helping us kind of getting some additional signage and patrols out for to watch for stop arm violations. And we've got a decent record of where those happen, where they're maybe those most susceptible areas. And so appreciate their partnership to maybe flag and warn some folks that are not honoring the stop arm. So I did want to bring that up as well. Last, just a couple highlights or updates on the bond activity and construction work. Everything, again, as I repeatedly shared, is going pretty much on schedule. We're pretty hopeful that the Heritage Project, which is the most involved, which is on schedule to wrap up this calendar year, that by the time students roll back in January, that space will be ready for them. It'll be a close call, but everybody's doing pretty good that we'll get that done. The other is the Liberty Middle School track. That work has gone quite well. We've had a couple minor hiccups along the way with the conditions of the soil. So before they lay sod and kind of finish the work up there, but again, that's on schedule to be finished and ready for play in February, so we're excited for that. South Valley Discovery, I don't know if anybody here had a chance to get to both of those sites. They're the inaugural, is that right, for like a play?
There you go.
Yeah, so they had both facilities were open for the first time for performances. I think we've heard all of that went quite well, so appreciate the team getting those spaces ready in time. And then last thing I was going to point out, this is kind of transportation related, all the LED work that's occurring across the district continues to occur in all the buildings, and we're kind of doing a lot of second shift work. We pointed that out in the past to stay out of the way. One of the things that we did, and we talked about in the operations team meeting today, the bus parking lot out back where the pumps are and everything. That has been a problem area, and a very low light problem area for a long time. So as part of all this work, we were able to get out there and bring in LED and really fill in the gaps. And I was talking to Andrew Jones this morning, and I said, just give me a sense, like what was it on an A to F grade and what is it? And he says it was a D, a low D, and now it's an A. And just from a safety standpoint, they're there a lot of times before the sun comes out, they're there before or after the sun comes down. And so just appreciate the investment into those spaces as well. It makes a big difference. So thank you for that. With that, I'd be happy. Any questions?
Questions of Mr. Anderson? Okay.
So, just for clarification, capital projects are from the capital projects budget?
Correct.
They were not funded through?
That's correct. At the
Okay.
bottom. Yeah.
All right. Just double checking my thought processes.
Yes.
Thank you. There's a lot on there. I really appreciate how the pictures go with the info, which goes, it's very succinct. I can read it quickly. So Jason did a nice job.
Yeah, and I also want to shout out purchasing and distribution and then school age care. The manuals sound like a really boring thing, but putting together a procedural manual to capture institutional knowledge is one of those little things that is easy to set aside, but I think makes a huge difference. And so just seeing that across multiple areas of operations that leaders are trying to do that, I think is really important and helpful. So thanks to them.
Anything else for Mr. Anderson?
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is 4.5, our Human Resources Report with Dr. Sarah Marriott.
Good evening. I'm going to start this evening with a little bit of information about health insurance renewals, since that is on the agenda for this evening. So our options for 2026 benefits were presented to the board at our last meeting for review, and proposed changes include moving from Blue Cross Blue Shield to Cigna due to that cost analysis comparison. So following board approval this evening, if that is how it proceeds, our HR team will provide 24 in-person and 4 virtual benefit information sessions to educate our staff on LPS benefits and those changes for 2026. And employees will also have access to a selection tool to help them make the best choice for their health insurance needs for the upcoming year. Our annual benefits open enrollment will take place Monday, October 27th. That's the day it will open, and then it will close on Wednesday, November the 5th, and then benefits will go into effect on January 1st of 2026. And I do need to thank Christelle Morgan, who's here this evening, as well as Kim Surratt and Rebecca Fisher. They are our benefits team, and we chatted today in our HR team meeting that we recognize in HR the very significant lift that happens with these 3 team members annually, that because of their skill and expertise, it's seamless and no one else notices it. But there is a lot of very complicated processes and information that has to be redone on an annual basis that they are truly experts in. So I thank them tremendously for their work. It's excellent and would hire them anywhere. We have 15 LPS classified team members who are participating in our Pathways to Teaching cohort this year, which is very exciting because this is our first year. That includes 6 in-person sessions, and that includes professional development, as well as partnering with universities on their teacher preparation programs. And so on October the 28th is our second session, and our special services team will be providing the professional development at this particular event, and Grand Canyon University is going to be our teacher preparation program partner. So we're excited to continue to host those. And then the final item that I want to share is that our early notification incentive program will open tomorrow, and it will close January 13th, and that is for full-time staff members who intend to retire at the conclusion of the 25-26 school year, that they are eligible for that financial incentive. And last year we had 35 staff members who took advantage of that. Do you have any questions?
Questions of Dr. Marriott?
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Last item then, under administration reports, just a couple of highlights from my report provided to you this month. Noted the State Board of Education continues to work through the budgeting process with a substantial ask for new funding to the tune of around $543 million. That's kind of working through their processes. There was a State Board of Education meeting today, and so I spent part of the day down there presenting on behalf of the Success Ready Students Network. It was not an action item, but instead was just an informational item to do really 2 things. Primarily to get state board members that are new to the state board up to speed on the work that we've been working on really since 2013. More recently, from 2022 to present, with the creation of the Success Ready Students Network, providing updates as it relates to professional learning for those districts that are participating, along with assessment redesign, but then also considerations for accountability and accreditation. And then jumped in the car and headed back for this meeting. But appreciate the receptivity of the state board. Also appreciate the collaboration that we have on 2 fronts. The field, as far as districts that are embarking on this work and have partnered together to create the network. But then also, this could not happen without the collaboration that we've been able to see in partnership with the department. So appreciate the entire team at DESE for their support in moving us forward. A couple other things at the state level to make mention of. As you know, Governor Kehoe pulled together a couple of task forces as he was installed in office. 2 of them, of which are really 3 of them, are related to education, but the 2 I wanted to highlight this evening. The first one is the Workforce of the Future, and that they concluded their work. It culminated in a report that we'll certainly dive into and take a look at. It dovetails pretty nicely with the work that we do around real-world learning and providing students those +1 experiences that they can obtain while in high school, that then equips them with those skills and dispositions to be successful beyond high school, whether they pursue college, go straight into the workforce, or even pursue military service. So we look forward to seeing how that can expand our work and how we can collaborate with more districts and business partners. The second task force then is our Funding Modernization Task Force, of which there are 4 groups that are currently meeting, work groups, between September and really the first part of December. Just as a reminder, those work groups are related to the formula and its various components. The one being funding targets, that's the one I get to serve on. Student counts is another category of work group. Performance incentives, and then lastly, local effort. We're about at the midway point of those meetings. Each of those work groups is scheduled for 6 sessions. And so I appreciate Ms. Sullivan for jumping on most days and listening to that. Afterward, we kind of huddle up and ask each other what our takeaways were. But there's a lot of time and energy being spent into that right now. As a reminder, once those work groups conclude, the broader task force will be brought together to review the few recommendations that come out of each of those work groups. And then the work really begins as far as trying to put those puzzle pieces together, because there's a tremendous amount of interplay in terms of a recommendation from work group that has implications on the others and vice versa. So we'll continue to share that information with you as we move forward. Also included an update on our strategic plan, which we'll have as an action item a little bit later on, but appreciate our strategic leadership team for the work that they do in doing a couple things, developing the plans, but then also monitoring progress over the course of each year. And so we look forward to sharing a little bit more information on top of our study session that we had earlier this month as we bring that to you for consideration here this evening. Just to put this on your radar as well, even though we are part of the Success Ready Students Network Innovation Waiver and working to design an alternative APR, we still are beholden to the current annual performance report. And so we leverage both to move us forward in one regard, but then also kind of gauge how we're doing with the various indicators included in the APR. That release of information publicly is scheduled for November 6th, in which the media will have access to that information. We do have kind of an inside glimpse ahead of that later part of this month, but we'll look forward to sharing that information with you in its totality, likely at an upcoming study session. So stay tuned for that. Last thing I want to do is thank everyone for a great start of the first quarter, and reflected in the turnout that we had for our parent-teacher conferences, whether it's face-to-face or virtual, giving families choice. But I know, and having heard many of these conversations from families and feedback from teachers, just appreciation on both ends for our families, but then also for our staff that spend time giving families an update as it relates to how their children are doing, both academically, but then certainly as a mom and dad, you're always interested in knowing how's my kid doing socially, relationally, right? That is also top of mind for many of us. So appreciate the time and energy put into our parent-teacher conferences this fall. With that, would open it up for any questions you all have of me.
Any questions? Just want to continue to thank you for the work you do outside of the district as an ambassador for public education in Missouri.
Thank you.
We can move on to unfinished business then.
So right into that, 5.1, as Dr. Marriott mentioned, is our insurance benefit utilization plan. Appreciate our partners from Holmes Murphy being here last month to really walk us through all of that and what it entails. As you can see, you have a plethora of documentation uploaded regarding the various coverages, and want to echo what Dr. Marriott shared as far as giving credit to both Team Liberty, to Dr. Marriott, Dr. Sullivan, and their leadership of that group, along with the HR team, Christelle and others, and really to all of our Team Liberty members for rolling up their sleeves as they bring those recommendations to me to digest and process through and then share those with you. To go a little bit deeper into what Dr. Marriott shared earlier, just as a reminder, the plan year coverage is January 1, 2026 through December 31st. The estimated renewal for the 2025 plan year was an estimated $865,000 additional expenditure from the prior year. That then gets us to the types of coverage, be it health insurance. You'll recall early on the conversation was a renewal with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas City to the tune of about 21.52%, which we all recognize was pretty exorbitant. Them sharpening the pencil a little bit and coming back with a decline or a kind of a decreased renewal of 6.7% from Blue Cross Blue Shield. However, Cigna came in at a little bit lesser rate, and that being 4.8%. So after those deliberations, Team Liberty decided to recommend to move forward with Cigna, and adding to that Cigna's cap for the second year, as far as a rate cap coming in at 10% for 2027 in that particular renewal, to not increase premiums over the course of that 10%. So the recommendation is certainly to move forward with Cigna as it relates to dental insurance, remaining with Sun Life, so no changes to carrier there, and you can see kind of the breakdown of cost per month and the district's contribution toward that as far as assisting employees. You look at vision insurance, the renewal there is to remain with VSP, so no changes to the current provider. Life insurance, short-term and long-term disability, no changes there as well. And then you have the voluntary or optional benefits of which some examples of that include accident insurance, critical illness, hospitality indemnity, hospital indemnity, sorry about that, identity theft protection, and even pet insurance. So I'm not sure how long the conversation was around pet insurance, but we do offer that as well, and those are optional benefits. And then the flexible spending accounts remaining with that provider, TriStar Systems, and the ensuing amount that the district contributes as it relates to employees' monthly fees. The last piece that is certainly kind of a behind-the-scenes piece that is certainly always appreciated for those when they need it, that is our employee assistance program, currently with CuraLink, and that will not change as well as we move forward with the coming year. So again, thank you to everyone that's involved. As Dr. Marriott shared, the open enrollment window will commence, and appreciate all the questions to be answered and answers to be provided. So what did I leave out, Dr. Marriott?
You did an excellent job. Just share that, again, as Dr. Tucker alluded to, we can't thank Team Liberty enough. They engaged in some very heavy decision-making, which they did not take lightly, the move from Blue Cross Blue Shield to Cigna. But I think they were very mindful in their decisions, and because of that, they still are able to maintain their priorities of offering 2 fully paid district health insurance plans to staff members, and also maintaining the HSA contribution for our high deductible plan. So again, those decisions are very difficult, and those conversations are very deep, and Team Liberty representatives just really engage in a great discussion and think outside of themselves when they are making those decisions.
Present that to you this evening for your consideration.
Yeah, I don't think any of us take lightly the fact that there are some increases going across the board on deductibles as well as premiums, but know that the team did put in all the effort to get it as minimal as possible. So appreciate that work.
I was in the room for that one, and it was very powerful to just see that how seriously they take their responsibility, not just to their own families, but to other families in the district, families of employees and employees.
I move the board. Excuse me.
Pardon me, Dan? How long have we been?
How long has Blue Cross Blue Shield been the provider?
A while.
I think it's 14 years,
Did you hear that, Dan? We believe it's 14 years.
but we'll get an exact number back
Yeah.
to Dan.
Thank you.
I think you're right, Dr. Marriott.
It's been a while.
They've been the carrier for quite some time.
We'll confirm that.
Yeah.
All right, I move the board approve the 2026 Employee Insurance and Benefits Utilization Plan as presented.
Second. Nick?
Yes.
Jen? Yes. AJ?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, 5.2 is our Series 2025 General Obligation Refunding Bonds. Our refunding.
Yes, so you have a pretty lengthy description included in your agenda this evening, just for both public consumption, but then just as a reminder for the board. As it relates to our prior meeting, and that was our October study session, in which we welcomed our friends from Piper Sandler, Joe Kinder and Brady Hart, to be able to come and provide kind of a timely item for us as we try to realize additional savings when it comes to our debt service. And so really just to kind of hit on a couple of highlights from our study session together, as we think about refunding a portion of our debt, it's really attributed to the 2016 and 2018 general obligation bonds. And looking at those two items together, it's roughly $77 million, $76.9 million. And what that entails is it gives us the ability to save funding money as it relates to lowering interest costs. That then, as a result, increases our cash flow and flexibility for future bonds as we free up bonding capacity for future facility projects. So some of the key items mentioned at our study session that we're looking at refunding approximately $34.9 million attributed to the 2016 issue, $42 million to the 2018 issue. The current interest rates run right at about 3.9% in terms of the average, And as we go to market, we anticipate that being closer to 3.1%. So then as you estimate that savings, we're looking at roughly $11 million saved for taxpayers. It shortens the life of the bond issue by 2 years, from taking that from 8.6 years to 6.6 years. And so that kind of hits the highlights from what we shared at our previous study session. Your consideration and action this evening sets us up to be able to go to market in an effort to try to get at it a little earlier than some of those other districts that might be looking at refunding particular GEO series bond issues. Anything to add to that, Ms. Sullivan, this evening?
Thank you for the highlight.
Would share that with you this evening for your consideration.
I appreciate that summary. So that's great. Dan, anything? I'm sorry, I haven't been calling on you to see if you needed anything, so I apologize for that.
No, I'm good. I'm good, thank you.
No problem. Anybody else?
No, I just appreciate our partnership with Piper Sandler and Cindy and the team putting all this together. I mean, this is, it seems rudimentary perhaps, but this is great stuff for us financially.
I move the board approve the resolution of Liberty 53 School District authorizing Series 2025 general obligation refunding bonds.
Second.
Nick?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
AJ?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great. And then we get to move to 5.3, the LPS strategic plan.
So for this particular year, you have presented and uploaded kind of our public-facing, it exceeds one page, so it's not entirely a one-pager, but it does reflect the various plans that we have in place for this academic year. As you will recall, our cadence has always been to conclude a year, celebrate those things we've accomplished, but then certainly go back to the drawing board to see what else we pick up out of our vivid vision, keeping in mind that our vivid vision kind of casts that look as to what it would look like if we accomplish kind of our future endeavors in the areas of teaching, learning, professional development, as well as community and leadership. And so from our vivid vision, we'll draw down what's next and then incorporate that into our work over the course of the summer and working closely with Scott Fuller and G&D Associates. So what you were shared with at our study session earlier a couple weeks ago was kind of that culminating work from June to present. What's behind the scenes are the plans that each of our leaders have been working on. And so I appreciate our strategic leadership team for their due diligence, welcoming a few new leaders, getting them acclimated to this process. Another layer to this is kind of the ongoing monitoring that we have in place with our pulse check that we meet every other week to be able to share out progress being made or maybe items that aren't gaining as much traction as we have had hoped. And on occasionally, things that we decide we're going to pull the plug on and go in a different direction, which is the intent of having a living and breathing strategic plan. So we've been working on this and getting better at it just about every year, but this is really, I believe, year 7 in 2 different iterations as it relates to this approach to strategic planning. So we'll present that to you this evening for your consideration as well.
I move the board.
Go ahead.
I move the board approve the 2025-2026 LPS strategic plan.
Second.
Nick?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
AJ?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great. Look forward to that. And 5.4 is legislative priorities.
And we've had a couple of preliminary conversations at study sessions as well regarding legislative priorities. Appreciate the feedback that we've received already as it relates to items that we have on our radar for next legislative session. We've also had some different touch points with various legislators over the course of this fall, whether it's in a groundbreaking or a Rotary Club meeting or a community partners meeting, and invited them to come and see the work that we're doing in our district. And so we have a couple of meetings scheduled over the course of the next couple of weeks to host and connect with some of our area legislators. We appreciate their service. As it relates to our priorities, we will come to you in November with those revisions that you have already suggested we include to be able to have a first look at that as far as a draft at our study session. with the intent being to take the month of November and really December to chisel away at it, to finalize that document to be able to share with our legislators at the start of the legislative session or over winter break. In the meantime, keep in mind the date of December 1st, and that is in which we'll see a lot of pre-filing occur in both chambers as far as what's going to come at us through the legislative process to be ready for. Knowing full well that there will be a lot of discussion around property taxes. There'll certainly be a lot of discussion around the foundation formula and funding for public education. But those typically come at us each year in each session. But that's certainly something to pay attention to this go around. So continue to be thinking about revisions, changes, updates to our legislative priorities, and that you'll see this item again in the not too distant future. So that's it on that item.
All right, great. Any other comments, or can we move to new business?
Under new business, the first item then is our course proposals, and we'll turn it over to Dr. Moore to hit on those highlights.
Thank you. 3 course proposals. Actually, it's kind of unique this month. The first one is a removal of a course. I'm not sure that we needed to put that in, so we did. But the removal of pre-calculus with trig, and what we want to do is move that class. We already have an AP pre-calc class that students can take, so we're wanting to remove the pre-calc and just have the AP pre-calc. We are in the middle of the 6 through 12 math adoption cycle, which is why we're bringing this. The math teams have met and feel like this is a better move. We surveyed students as well about taking this course. Students who wouldn't take this course could go on to either college algebra or the prof and stats. And again, that is the request of both high schools. And then the other 2 would be in the fine arts department. So the oral interpretation is actually not a new class, but it is the UCM course that would kind of work with competitive theater. So a student could take competitive theater, or they could take the class called oral interpretation for dual credit. Regardless, it's the same class. Students would be in that same class. So that is, again, one that's unique that we weren't sure, but we wanted to put on there to have transparency. And then the final one is public speaking. And while it says it's a new course, we actually had that prior, but we took it out. And we'd like to bring that back. When you look at our graduate profile, and it talks about the importance of being an effective communicator, we feel as though that public speaking would be a great course. We'd like to bring that back also as a dual credit offering, and it would also be an elective. And we're also looking to, in some of our programs, which will bring some more information next month about some fine arts opportunities, we're looking at how that could be embedded maybe as an ELA 4 credit. So instead of an ELA 4, students can take the public speaking. So those are the 3 that are up for consideration.
No action this evening, so that's just presented to you for first read. So as you process through that, certainly entertain any questions this evening, but prior to the November board meeting, if you have any clarification that's needed or additional questions, please reach out and let us know. So, okay?
That's really helpful. Thank you.
So under 6.2, it's that time of year in which we want to take action as a board to appoint our TIF commission representatives, and you can see with the motion language who those individuals are.
Dan
Currents and Steve Anderson. And really keep in mind, as we cover 2 municipalities, we're really talking about 2 separate TIF commissions. So the motion this evening would be to appoint both Dan Currents and Steve Anderson to serve in this capacity with the Tax and Increment Financing Commission of Kansas City as well as Liberty.
And I assume Dan just found out tonight, so we can just
put on
mute him.
It is with great joy. This is awesome. I move the Liberty School District Board of Education herein approve the appointments of Dan Currents and Stephen Anderson to represent the district on the Tax Increment Financing, otherwise known as TIF, Commissions of Kansas City, Missouri and Liberty, Missouri in all matters relating to TIF plans, TIF plan areas, TIF projects, and all amendments thereto, which affect in part or in whole areas within the boundaries of the district. Said appointments are for 1 year from date of appointment.
Second.
Nick,
Yes.
Jen.
Yes.
AJ.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Drew.
Yes.
Angie.
Yes.
Karen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
6.3 is our aforementioned early notification incentive program for people.
Yeah,
I
and-
move, do you need, oh, sorry.
Nope,
You
you're-
want the motion?
you got it.
I move the board approve the 2025-2026 early notification incentive program.
Second. Nick.
How many do we generally have? What did we have this past year? 35. Okay, awesome.
Nick?
Yes.
Jen. Yes.
Does it
AJ?
matter if it goes higher?
Yes.
All right, she's reading the roll.
Dan.
Sorry.
Yes.
Drew.
Yes.
Angie.
Yes.
Karen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, now here we are at 6.4 with our 2024-2025 audit report.
We will welcome our friends from Westbrook and Company, Brian Eckhoff, to come and share, similar to what he shared last night with our Audit and Finance Committee. So we'll turn it over to Brian.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello,
Hi.
good evening. I'm Brian Eckhoff with Westbrook & Company. We're going to do a brief overview of the audited financial statements. As you can see, it's a little different this year. Draft is stamped on it. So the federal OMB data compliance supplement is our rule book, kind of our guidelines on how we do your federal program audit. It's usually issued in May every year. It is not issued yet. So we are not allowed to actually issue your audit until they release that. I have a staff member checking every morning to find out if it's released. Once it's released, hopefully we'll be able to remove draft and we'll get this issued. You guys can approve it at that board meeting after that follows. We did the audit based upon last year's compliance supplement, assuming there's not going to be significant changes. If there are significant changes, we will come back in, redo that work, and then I'll come back and present it again if need be. Hopefully we don't have to cross that barrier. So on the next slide, you'll see the auditor's opinion, and you can see in the red box it says it is presented fairly. So this is a clean audit opinion or a good audit report, exactly what you want to see in your audited financial statements. This is the statement of activities. It's kind of a different financial statement. It has your expenditures down the left-hand side, offset by revenues through the middle of the page to show a net cost of doing business down the right-hand side. Usually we talk about food service. During COVID, all districts were making money on food service. Now we're post-COVID, and you can see that food service actually cost the district about $2 million this year. So we're back to the normal scenario of where food service is costing the district's money. So the next slide is going to be the balance sheet. You can see as of June 30th, we had about $123 million in assets between the four funds. Overall, general fund was set at 54. Special revenue fund, it's always taken to a zero balance for school districts. Debt service fund at 23, and then the capital projects fund at 45. And the next slide is going to give you the breakdown of those fund balances. In your general fund, you have scholarships, non-spendable scholarships of $55,000, and then some earnings off those of $958. Your student activities balances of $1.3 million, that's your clubs and organizations. And then the $52.8 million is the unassigned balance in the general fund. That is for the day-to-day operations of the district. Debt service fund is always shown as restricted because it can only be used on debt service. And then the capital projects fund, you had $38.8 million of unspent bond proceeds, and then the remaining balance of $6.6 million is always shown as assigned because that will be used on future capital projects of the district. Next slide should be the revenues and expenditures, and I'm not sure what happened, why your revenues are blanked out. Your total revenues this year were $232 million. I'm not sure why there's something on the page there, so just know.
Draft.
The final will be accurate. So, $232 million of total revenues. Expenditures were $267 million. So if you look, the district deficit spent this year $35 million. However, if you look, you spent a little over $50 million on facility acquisition and construction. So the big deficit was in your capital projects fund, which was planned. Overall, in the general fund, we had a $2.2 million increase, so we consider that the operations of the district, so a good year financially, all while doing a $3 million transfer over the capital projects fund. So the next slide will give you a summary of the debt. Started the year with about 203 million. Paid down a significant portion there. I would consider that a significant portion. Brought it down to 191 with about 13.5 million due in the current fiscal year. The next slide will actually show you all of the payments on those bonds prior to the bond refunding that you just approved. So,
Draft.
yeah. So those payments go through 2043. And then your next slide will be the 3 payments left on the lease participation certificates. So, all right, and then next slide is a 5-year comparison of revenues. Thing to highlight here is if you look at the 4th chart over, that's your federal revenues. You can see the COVID dollars came in and went away, and now we're back down to 3%. You can also see in the local side, districts are becoming more and more reliant on local dollars. So you can see you went from 56 up to 64 over the last 5 years. So I'm seeing that across the board at all of my districts. So next slide will be a 5-year comparison of expenditures. Overall, 79% of your expenditures are on salaries and benefits. They did increase at a higher percentage or a higher rate this year compared to your purchase services and your supplies. That's why it went from 77 to 79. Obviously, your overall expenditures did increase. It's just salaries and benefits increased at a faster rate. Next slide will be a 5-year comparison of reserve ratio and average daily attendance. Reserve ratio this year was 27.9. It has stayed basically flat for 5 years. We consider that a healthy, financially stable school district. I have seen several districts actually bump up that reserve ratio because of the uncertainty in your guys' world with funding. Cindy talked about it earlier with the cuts and personal property taxes and all the different things. So I am seeing a lot of districts actually increase that rate if they can. And then also on your guys' situation, the bottom chart is your average daily attendance, and you can see it had a decline again this year. We're down to 11,302 since average daily attendance drives all of your revenues almost. Something to monitor and maintain going forward just so that you're on top of it from a financial perspective. Next slide will be the report on state laws and regulations. While we're here, we look at budget, attendance, transportation, compliance with bidding, things like that. If we come across any violations, we bring it to your attention in this report, and you'll see that it says fairly stated, so this is another clean opinion. The next report will be internal control. We don't give an opinion on internal control, but we use it during a risk assessment. If we come across any violations or deficiencies, we bring it to your attention. And you can see in the report it says we did not identify any deficiencies. So that's another good report, exactly what you want to see. And then the last one is the report on federal programs. This is because you have more than $750,000 of federal expenditures. So if we have any question, cost, or anything like that, we bring it to your attention. The red box says that it's another clean report, exactly what you want to see. And then the next slide is going to say unmodified, which is clean report, good audit opinion, exactly what you want to see. No all the way down, except for the bottom one is exactly what you want. Towards the bottom, you can see that we tested the special education cluster. That's where my auditor spent the majority of her time pulling contracts and expenditures to make sure they were compliant. And then the bottom one, do you qualify as a low-risk auditee? If you sat through this presentation before, O&B was written for accrual basis financial statements. 99% of the school districts are cash basis, so you will never qualify as a low-risk auditee. Just requires us to audit a higher percentage of your federal programs. So, and then the next one should say none and none. And that is about as clean of an audit as you can get.
Yay. Wow, thank you.
I know that was fast. Any questions, comments?
So to follow up on the federal level, so we're amidst a shutdown.
Yes.
Which we're all aware, but I appreciate Brian's guidance and conversation with both Cindy and I in terms of the implication of what usually happens around May, still waiting for that to happen in terms of the guidance. So then we reached out to the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to put them on notice that this might be an issue to keep in mind. The initial reaction was a little tepid, so then we took another run at it, provided additional information. And the reason I mention that is the submission is due to DESE in December. The first part or end of December, so you have until the end of December to submit your audit. albeit
It's
there's...
also due to federal government 30 days after the board approves it, or 9 months after your fiscal year, so March.
So that's what we're tracking. And so we have some time before that December close, but in the meantime, we're on a shutdown. So the intent would be typically to approve it this evening. We can't. We're going to continue to monitor that and bring it back to you at whatever point we're able to do that. November study session or board meeting, December study session or board meeting. In the event that it gets us up against that December 30 wire, we'll see. We've yet to get guidance from DESE on this, albeit we have pushed that their way to make sure that they are aware. There's a bit of a prior precedent when we were experiencing COVID. There were some exceptions and flexibility that was offered during that period. Don't know if that might be a scenario, but that's something that we'll continue to stay in touch with Brian about, and then as well with DESE. I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
The only thing I'd add right now is our recommendation, if we get to that point, is to approve the draft and send it into DESE and say, here it is, and then once we finalize it, reapprove the final copy and then send it in a second time.
Okay.
This also affects our continuing disclosure requirements that are due to the MSRB Emma portal on December 26th. So I did touch base with bond counsel on that as well. And so if we are still in draft status at that point, we will be uploading all of our continuing disclosure information to the Emma portal with a statement that this is the draft that has been presented, and that as soon as it has been approved by the board, we will update it with the approved audit. So kind of the same way we probably came to this.
So when you say that, are we talking the bonds that we're...
All bonds.
All bonds.
So anytime we do a bond issue or a refunding or anything like that, there's a continuing disclosure document within everything that is approved.
Yep.
And that we're required to submit a summary of the district for various things, census, enrollment, financial pieces, along with our ASBR and our approved audit.
Yep. Okay.
So that's a requirement every year. So it's affected by this as well.
So will this, it's probably opinion more than anything, but is this going to affect our refunding of the bond or no? Okay.
Not at all.
And again, not unique to us.
Sure.
This is federal, unique to any districts going through their annual audit. So we'll keep you informed along the way. Other questions of Brian while we have him this evening?
Now, Brian, you mentioned you all the districts you work with. Are they all in Missouri?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, we do around 40, give or take.
Yep. Okay.
Appreciate the guidance.
No problem. Thank you. It's always
All right.
a pleasure.
Thanks. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item on the agenda, 6.5, is our local compliance plan. Appreciate our special services team taking a look at that as we receive guidance from DESE at the federal level. The last time we had a review and action by the board was back in 2023, but this is an item you've seen from time to time, and so we share that to you this evening as it relates to our plan for 2025. I don't know, Dr. Dixon-Seahorn, if you have anything to add?
No, other than just that the state has already prepared a plan to make it easy for LEAs, and we have the option to adopt that plan, and in doing so, we will be certified by U.S. Board. So that's our recommendation, to adopt the plan that the state has developed.
Thank you.
A motion from anybody?
Move the board adopt the model compliance plan made available by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education.
Second.
Nick,
Yes.
Jen.
Yes.
AJ,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Drew,
Yes.
Angie,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, board policy updates.
You have some items shared for you for first read that we'll then bring back to you in November for consideration. In the meantime, our leadership team will take a look and see if there are specifics that need to be adjusted for what we do here in the district. So let us know if you have any questions. So there's the set of policies that you'll see again for action, and then the ensuing administrative procedures, which, as we know, are provided to us for awareness. So put a placeholder on that. In the meantime, if you have questions between now and the November board meeting, please let us know.
Good. Okay. All right, 6.7, DAC second floor remodel bids.
As many of you will recall, the second floor is currently vacant, in which we relocated our tech department along with a few other departments, including fine arts and kids zone, to the previous Mid-Continent Public Library Liberty branch. And so we procured that through your approval a while back, and then have taken the time to renovate and expand into that space. I think a few of you have had the opportunity to go there and check that out. If you've not, please be sure and do that. That gives us then the opportunity, as we've shared in a couple conversations with the board, to then consider what we do on our second floor, which brings us to this evening's action item. And so we'll turn it over to Mr. Anderson to walk us through that.
Yes, first of all, I think just a real little bit of history, when the district admin center moved to this building back in 2014, the financial situation was different, and so it was a little bit of a scramble to kind of get into this space, and we made some accommodations to get in here, and I think so. Just bear that in mind. This plan is really meant to kind of right the ship in a few different areas, and I'll speak to that here in a minute. But again, just the opportunity, especially on the second floor with the relocation of technology and the district server over to that new building, really created an opportunity to kind of rethink the second floor. We've long thought that would be a good opportunity to do a floor that's main purpose and dedication is to a boardroom, to hopefully kind of work around a little bit some of our columns, and just to create the layout really intended to serve that purpose. In addition to the boardroom, there's obviously going to be a corresponding executive conference room. There'll also be a media/podcast room that will be set up for interviews, video, podcasts, and that'll be kind of in that corner office where Trey previously sat. And then we're going to bring up a small office suite as well. We'll have the opportunity to host larger events there, in addition, of course, to the board. A couple of the alternates that we put into the bid package and ended up accepting several of the major alternates, but probably the biggest one is to get the HVAC system right in this building. This has been a long struggle of ours. So we are confident that this will kind of once and for all right the ship. We're also going to go ahead and finish off some of the restrooms that haven't had much attention these past 30, 40 years. And so we'll kind of update those as well. And then some of the other added costs that really sneak up on us on a little bit with the relocation of the server, but yet having to maintain the server operation for this building required some relocation and electrical work, and then movement of some cabling and all that. So that was another kind of added cost. So it's a little bit larger project than we initially anticipated, being funded out of present year capital, next year capital primarily, but all capital funds. I think I just want to stress that there's no bond dollars appropriated to this project. That was never intended. This was always envisioned as a capital project. Often these are within consent. This one being a little bit more significant, having briefed you all on it repeatedly, we thought it would be good to bring it out in front of you in open session, but would really appreciate consideration of this tonight.
Since you brought up restrooms, do we have new mother's room here? In this building somewhere?
Yes, on the first floor. Yes.
Okay.
And did you cause the noisy airflow through the
Very much
HVAC
intentional.
system?
It's all about timing.
And is that going to fix all the HVAC in the entire building?
Yes.
Okay.
That is the full intent. We're spending the right money to get that done. But we've cut this building up so many times over the years, that's what really complicates it, and the systems are very old. So I think this will be an opportunity to get that right.
So if somebody has a heater or an AC unit in their office, they may not need it in the future.
I would hope not.
Okay.
I think one of the things that is most important about this is having expanded opportunities for people to be in this space. We don't have a lot of visitors right now, but at the top of this meeting, when we had a lot of people, it's not comfortable really for people to be in here. It's not a great setup, and so it will be really nice to have a space where people can come be more active and hopefully attend board meetings or just be more part of other, just another space for community or professional development or other events as well. So, but I think that is one of the things I'm most looking forward to, is having a space that's more accessible for people to visit.
Steve, can you tell me which of the alternates are being accepted with this project right out of the gate, or are there any?
Yes, several. So first will be the HVAC upgrades on floors 1, 3, and 4, restroom upgrades on 1, 3, and 4. We also included an alternate to finish off this space. We're going to bank off some offices and a meeting room and a secure storage room within the balance of this room. I think those are the major ones. There might be one other minor one in there.
The fire?
Fire alarm, thank you. Yep, that was accepted as well for the entirety of the building.
Good questions. Any other questions?
I move the board approve the DAC second floor remodel bids.
Second.
Nick?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
AJ?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, all of our DMS, SVMS, LHS, LNHS, turf and track projects.
So you do have a couple items here as well, and we're going to let Mr. Anderson continue to walk us through those.
So this was introduced a couple months ago because we had to really, it was time to replace the turf on both of the athletic complexes at both high schools. Those turfs, we test those annually. They were in that not very safe zone, so it was time to do that. Which again, the use has been significant if they're constantly in use, so we weren't terribly surprised by that. It just hit the 10-year mark. That's what this is planned to do. Because of the costs associated with replacing both of those, plus redoing the track at Liberty High, resurfacing the track, we also thought it was an opportunity to resurface the track at South Valley Discovery, which was long needed. Plus there were some pretty concerning drainage issues in and around the field that we thought if we could leverage all of that work, we could do it as one lease purchase arrangement. And so that is what is in front of you today. So all the work, and we're asking that you actually approve the purchase with Mid-America Sports and McConnell to allow us to move forward with the procurement of all the material. And then next month, we will be, I think it's an addendum to the lease purchase agreement that's currently in place. And we'll just add to that and spread those costs over, I think that's a 5-year period, right? 5-year period. That for tonight we just ask for your consideration of the McConnell and Mid-America agreement.
That field turf, should that last?
They're technically like about a 10-year. I think that
Okay.
the warranty is like 7.
Okay.
But I think the thing we didn't fully anticipate was, I mean, you go by the business used all the time.
Sure,
right?
it's all, yeah,
So,
yeah.
But yeah,
Which is great.
Yeah, it's as we had thought.
Yeah.
10 years was a good run.
And there's probably nothing underneath that really needs to be addressed. It's
Nothing,
just
right.
pull up
That's a
the
good
carpet, put
point.
it down.
I think that's good to emphasize that. When we did the original facilities, we put so much attention in what was below the carpet.
Yep.
Because we knew this would come, and so really it's just to kind of roll it out. We're gonna roll it up and roll it out.
Okay.
So it does keep the cost down in that respect.
Okay.
Anything else?
I move the board approve the turf and track purchases with Mid-America Sports Construction and McConnell and Associates.
Second.
Nick? Yes. Jen?
Yes.
AJ?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Right, and you said there'll be more to come on that.
Yes, with the lease purchase agreement.
Okay. So then 6.9.
Going to jump to the rooftop.
Yeah.
Yes, so this is the phase 2, really major work associated with the performance contract or the ESCO agreement with Schneider Electric. They're handling this work for us. So we did the LED work and approved that back about 6 months ago or so. And that's when the lease purchase agreement was initially approved. So what this would allow for, and this is on first read next month, we'd come back in front of you would be to allow for the replacement of the roofs at both South Valley and Discovery, both long overdue. And this again takes a very expensive project, allows us to package it in here and spread those costs over time. In this space, it's 15 years. And then just as a reminder, with our capital plan, we have about $6 million that we spend annually in capital work, and then there's another approximately $6 million that is used for leases and lease purchases and tech equipment and buses, and these would just be absorbed into that lease section of the capital plan. So it's all within that overall 12 million, but this really does allow us to tackle some of these very large necessary projects and spread the costs over time. So nothing for tonight, but we'll be back in front of you next month with the amended agreement.
How do we capture these in the finances? Is this in debt service or?
No, these are paid out of Fund 4
Okay,
capital.
okay, got it.
Okay.
And Steve, these were not considered part of the bond?
No, they were not. But I think initially, Dan, they were identified as part of the facility review. And at that time, as we were selecting projects and having to narrow down, we started to discuss the possibility of doing this as part of an escrow agreement.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? All right, contracts and purchases.
We do have one item under contracts and purchases, and we'll let Mr. Anderson cover that off as well.
Yes, this was an emergency action required to meet the needs of students. And really, it's as simple as just, we've had this agreement in the past with Imagine Learning, and would ask for your endorsement of that tonight.
Move the board approve the emergency contract with Imagine Learning.
Second.
Nick?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
AJ?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Drew?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. We're up here to legislation and advocacy. Angie, you said there was is the book out?
Book's out.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you guys need a copy of? I have it, I just wasn't sure who all it went to.
What book?
The Delegate Assembly
Assembly.
Handbook.
Got it.
Well, for sure, AJ and
Yeah.
Drew.
I've got a copy of it. I think we all received an email.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I can
Yeah.
resend it, I have it. And the Delegate Assembly is Friday
At
afternoon.
3:45 to 5:30.
And you're gonna be there, Drew?
I'll be there. Yeah.
Okay,
And I'll be there.
okay, great.
Very good.
There's 7.
Anybody else who's coming?
7
You're welcome
proposals.
to.
I'll probably watch.
Watching is always intriguing.
So that'll be good. So it'll be good to have we will be meeting our requirement for our governance award. We'll have our quorum there. So
The conference app is out.
that's right, the conference app is out.
I
So
haven't received an email about it yet. Has anyone received
It may be
emails?
tucked into,
So I emailed Denise, she said I was registered, but I haven't seen anything at all.
there was an email that just came out, I think, the end of last week that said the app was live, I
Oh.
think. So, but it could go to spam because we get so much.
Well, I'll just look on the app.
So,
Okay.
yeah. The app is updated.
Okay.
So there's conference, full schedule.
it came out with a weird heading.
Yeah, it didn't
that you
say-
may have just
It wasn't
missed it.
specifically about the conference, I don't think.
You may look at October 16th,
Okay.
and then I think they sent out a know before you go
Oh, okay.
Oh, I saw
email.
that email.
Which
That's
I
it.
think
It's buried in
that's
there.
got a lot
It's
of
buried
information.
in there,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, if the app is updated, that's fine, I'll just use that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great. And then, so we'll see everybody there. We've got some upcoming dates. Annual conference, board candidate filing, advocacy day for MSBA in March. So, and then some conferences you might think about for people that are interested. And then we've got our upcoming meetings. Any board remarks? I think you have
Yes,
something.
I do. Liberty Education Foundation's Community Impact Showcase is an invitation for all of our stakeholders, taxpayers who want to come in and see what is happening in our district. That is Thursday, October 30th, and it will be at the new South Valley Middle School. What do they call the room?
multi-purpose or
room
multi,
South Valley
all of the
Middle
above.
School.
It's not the gym,
And-
the cafetorium anymore. whatever.
Just the gymnatorium.
Gymnatorium. Okay, so you can find out more about that on the Liberty Education Foundation site or Facebook. And I also wanted to do a shout out to our Fresh Club at Liberty High School. They are implemented their Buckle Up Phone Down program at Liberty High School as part of their Fresh program for this year, what they're working on with Missouri Department of Transportation. I think Steve Aldrich was helping them with that, and Laffey helped with some funding for that. And tomorrow they're going to roll that out at 7:30, 7:40 in the morning at Liberty High School, and they've got signage just as a reminder for the community and the students. One of those healthy things they can do. It's great. So Tim Anderson is the Fresh Club sponsor at Liberty High School, and he's doing a great job. That's great. I think that's all I have.
Very good. Any remark?
I move the board adjourn.
Second.
Nick,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
AJ,
Yes.
Dan, Drew,
Yes.
Angie,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
motion carries.
Do you know where that meeting's gonna take place in the morning?
Thank you,
Oh,
everyone.
in the morning, Buckle Up, phone down. It's usually to be at the front of Liberty High School at
Outside.
7:40.